do not put an aftermarket exhaust on your Jeep Gladiator. You know, you will be disappointed. Gotta be safe. Well, good morning, everybody. How are you today? Pretty good here, and that's right. Don't put an aftermarket exhaust on your Jeep Gladiator because you're just going to be disappointed. If you're like me and your whole reason for looking to put an aftermarket exhaust on your Gladiator is because you want a deeper, throatier sound, then you're not going to get it. You know, let's face it, you're running a V6 engine, right? Not a V8, and you're not going to get V8 sound out of a V6 engine, no matter what exhaust you put on it. Now, I say that because that was always my goal, right? I love the sound of the Mustang GT, and I was always trying to get that deep, throaty, mean sound out of my Toyota Tacoma up there. You know, I'd put a few different exhausts on trying to achieve that. You know, we had the stock exhaust, which obviously you're not going to get anything. Then I had an MBRP exhaust, which did give me more sound. Sounded awesome at acceleration and awesome at startup, but otherwise kind of droney and just didn't have that deep throaty sound that I was looking for, right? Then I put on the TRD exhaust, and it might be just this much louder than the stock exhaust, but that's it. But there is a way you can get at least a little bit more sound out of the Jeep Gladiator, and that is an aftermarket cold air intake. Now, I've had two, well, three if you count the OEM, but I've had two aftermarket cold air intakes on my Jeep Gladiator to give me a little bit more sound, right? First one was the Air Raid. That thing, I was shocked. I put that on the truck, and wow, what a difference that makes. It's actually on my wife's Jeep Wrangler right now. She loves it. And I switched because the Air Raid intake didn't have that big clear lid on the top, right? I wanted that clear lid so I could see the filter. Now, the Air Raid does have a little kind of oval-like cover on it, but it's not very big. So, put that on her Jeep, and then I went with the S&B cold air intake. The S&B cold air intake has this big giant lid on it, right? I mean, you can see everything in there, and I love that. The aesthetics of it are number one as far as I'm concerned. There is no better looking cold air intake than the S&B. Now, what about the sound, right? That was my whole goal. Well, I got to admit, Air Raid is the best sounding of the ones that I've tried. It gives you the deepest, richest sound that you can get, in my opinion, in the Jeep Gladiator. Now, that's not to say that the S&B is any slacker. You know, it's just a little bit less, but I still get a nice throaty sound. I'll play a little clip right here for you, just me accelerating as I'm driving down the road. Hopefully it picks up well on the camera. Have a listen, see what you think. Now, again, we're not talking about some deep V8 growl. You're not going to get that. You know, I know there are a lot of people out there who have gone after aftermarket exhausts, myself included, in their quest to have that growl out of their V6 motor, but you're not going to get it. You're going to get a drone, and you're going to get a more metallic, louder exhaust for sure, but you're going to be disappointed. It's not going to be what you're looking for. And I say that because I've had a lot of comments on the channel, people that have gone to these aftermarket exhausts for sound, for a better, deeper exhaust note. And I think almost every one of them have complained, almost everyone, that they didn't like it. A lot of them have gone back to stock because they didn't like the drone that they got out of it. I mean, there's nothing worse than taking a long distance trip, hours and hours in your Jeep, and all you hear is that background drone, that constant drone from the exhaust. We kind of want the best of both worlds, right? You want to be able to cruise down the road and have basically a quiet exhaust on a long distance trip. But when you want to get on it, you want it to go. You want it to sound, right? So, unfortunately, in my experience, it just doesn't exist with an aftermarket exhaust on a V6 motor. Now, the other thing that I wanted to bring up about this, and again, you're going to be disappointed if you're looking for some sort of a performance or fuel economy increase. And this applies to both the cold air intake and the aftermarket exhausts. People often ask me, am I seeing any better gas mileage? Does the truck feel quicker? Did it improve my performance? And the answer is no. No. And never would I say that I've put an aftermarket exhaust or a cold air intake on, jumped in the truck and thought, wow, I got myself a hot rod now. It just doesn't happen. It's not there. And it's funny because a lot of those, especially the aftermarket companies, and probably some of the aftermarket cold air intake companies, and probably some of the exhaust companies as well, claim that their products do increase horsepower. A lot of them will even show a graph where they've done a dyno or something and they show an increase in power. And they claim it's usually somewhere in the 20 to 40 horsepower range. But you're already running, 200 and I forget what it is exactly, 279, 280, 290, whatever it is, horsepower. So by increasing the horsepower by 20 to 40, it's not something you're going to feel, It's not like it's going to make your truck obviously quicker, and there's no denying that putting that exhaust or cold air intake is the reason. You might see it on a dyno where you have a computer and software checking the truck, but it's not something that you're going to feel. So even when these companies, while I do think it's true that a lot of these products do increase horsepower, unfortunately, it's just not enough for you to feel, It's just a minute amount that can be picked up by some sort of a test or a dyno, but you're not going to feel it. And in the end, if you can't feel it, then why does it really matter, right? Why go out and spend all that money, for a, $800-900 exhaust, because they do get pretty pricey if you go for some of the higher end ones, and not notice any difference, or worse, be disappointed in what you have when you're done. That's got to suck if you spend that kind of money. I've never spent that kind of money. The exhausts I've gotten probably more in the $300 range, something like that. But if you spend that kind of money on an exhaust, hoping to get more sound, more power, better fuel economy, and you get nothing, that's gotta suck. And I think that's part of the reason that you'll get some people out there that just swear by them. Why? Because they already committed, right? They spent all that money on them. They went ahead and put them on, didn't get what they're looking for, but I'll be darned if they're going to admit that it was a failure. Some folks are just like that, and more power to them, whatever. I'm just telling you the truth. Anyway, leave a comment if you've gone with one of these products, either a cold air intake or an aftermarket exhaust. Is this what you experienced, or are you happy with yours? I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, if you're interested, check out my other channel. It is Rob Motive, all about my 2020 Toyota Tacoma. Don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And do me a favor, smash that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.